Good afternoon. A friend of mine asked me a question a couple of days ago. What Britishers do to India when they were employed in India or when they were in India? And I am going to tell you the answer I gave to him. An 18-year-old adult sailed from Portsmouth on the 19th of March 1743. He reached in Madras at St. George Port on the 17th of May 1744. And of course, the journey was tough, difficult, a long journey, and his supplies were running low. Of course, money running low. However, he arrived in Indian soil in search of a job, an 18-year-old. He later secured an employment in India, a clerical job with East India Company. Let me tell you what was the economic prosperity of India at the time. British economic historian, and I'm quoting, and he was Angus Madison. The Indian economy was 23%, as large as the whole of Europe put together in 1700. By the time British departed from India, this 23% was crumbled into 3%. Quote close. And an American historian, Will Durant, wrote on his short book, the title of the book, The Case of India. He wrote, I quote, "The British conquest of India was invasion and destruction of a high civilization by a trading company." Now we know the British East India Company. Ultimately without scruples or principle, careless and greedy for gain, by bribing and murdering, annexing and stealing. Quote close. You know how it happened? How did they destroy the Indian? Let me start with the Indian textile. The officers of East India Company systematically destroyed the loom, something which was very popular in the international market. And you know how they destroyed? They used everything and anything to destroy. Even they went to the extent of breaking the thumb so that they couldn't ply their craft. And now let's see taxation. And there were 50% taxation. A family with a piece of land, they have their cultivation. As you know, India being an agrarian country, the agriculture was one of the main source of income. If they have a piece of land, they cultivate, So they had to pay 50% tax of their income. And let me tell you, where was this tax going? When we pay tax in this country, it goes to our welfare or our development in this country. But when Indians paid tax, it was directly remitted to the London Treasury. You know, between 1765 and 1815, every year, London Treasury had a revenue from India of 18 million pounds, not rupees, 18 million pounds. Not in 2025. In between 1765 and 1815, you can count. You can imagine what would that be in today's money. And you know, Ale of Chatham described the whole process as the redemption of a nation, a kind of gift from heaven. When you pay tax in this country, it is for your welfare purposes. But when Indians pay tax, it's straight away remitted to the London Treasury. And I concluded by saying this to my friend: loot is not loot unless you know it was looted. Thank you.